Harry here with SMB Nation doing a post CompTIA ChannelCon follow-up. Great show this year, but that's a whole nother story documented in some of our other contributions. So I'm with Rustin of DNS Filter out of, I believe you said the Washington DC area. Is that correct, my friend?
That's correct. We're headquartered out of our nation's capital.
Alrighty, so sir, what is your story? Because your firm comes from our community. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I thought your watchers might be interested in that. Is that we actually started as an MSP about 10 years ago. We were a wireless MSP serving large hotels and apartment buildings, and we were using a security product called OpenDNS, which we loved. Hands down, it was way better than the firewalls that we were used to. And what happened in 2015, Cisco acquired that product and they tripled the price on us, and the product kind of stagnated,
Yep.
and it just didn't work for us anymore. So,
Yeah, fair enough.
as a technical team, yeah, we actually got together and said, we're network and software engineers. What if OpenDNS was started today? And so we wanted to reinvent what it would be like if it was started in 2015, and we made a big bet on OpenDNS was started using a crowdsourced model where people would crowdsource domains, and we started on an AI model. We actually merged with an East Coast company of AI engineers who were doing AI threat detection and categorization, put the two companies together, and now we are full-time DNS Filter. Our MSP is still there, so we still have that. But
Yeah.
now we are full-time on DNS Filter, and other people are running our MSP.
Hey, before we get to the good stuff, let me add to that what I like about the history of our community is how many MSPs, consulting firms, whatever you want to call it, back in yesteryear,
Right.
took some of their, at the end of the day, took some of their intellectual property and commercialized it and turned it into a business. And that's very common, right? You see that all the time in different sectors of the economy. And quite frankly, I think it keeps it real. That's good that you still have people carrying the bag to field test and innovate, right? Because you're out there doing it too.
Absolutely. We can drink our own champagne every day. We are an MSP, so we understand the customer intimately, and then when we have a new product or a new feature, we always test it on our own MSP first. So people
Yeah,
can feel feel good that we understand them.
absolutely. Well, Rustin, let's get into the good stuff. The audience, they're chomping at the bit for anatomy of a fish. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to share with MSPs. Phishing is obviously a hot topic from their customers. They're seeing a lot in the news, and they're probably wondering how they can better protect their customers or speak to their customers. So I wanted to show them just a couple things. And the first was that this is what you may think of when you think of phishing emails 10 years ago. You
Yep.
may think of typos and non-personalized information. Please update your information. It's so obviously not a real email. Even the logo's wrong. But the biggest trend we've noticed is actually these phishing emails, they're getting pretty good. For
Yeah.
example, this is one our service caught. I couldn't tell the difference just by looking at the email here.
Yeah.
Here's another one that clicked, and this looks very similar to the Google open login. And that was another one our scanner found. And then there's the dreaded spearfish, right? Where they're actually communicating to you and making it look like it's from your CEO, saying, hey, when you reply to this, they're going to send you a link to wire information. And they've just gotten a lot more sophisticated in the past few years.
Yeah.
And that's because it's working. So 30% of these phishing messages are open and 12% are clicked. And it's the easiest way right now for malicious people who want to make money, essentially. I hate to say it, but in terms of if you're a malicious actor, you have your own return on investment. And right now, phishing is the best return on investment in terms of time and money to try and get money out of your customer's organization.
Well, Rustin, think of it this way: that on the evening news, right? They start like 4 p.m. The evening news like this afternoon and evening locally, but uh, you'll recall a day where you would often hear of a bank heist, right? Like
Hmm.
up on Aurora Avenue, a masked
Right.
robber, went to Bank of America branch and escaped with $600.
Right.
And they had a gun or threatened to have a gun, which puts it in a whole other league of sentencing when the bad guy gets caught. The point I'm making, obviously, is you don't see that on Como 4 News in Seattle much anymore. You don't see the bank lobby height. Why rob a bank when you can do this?
You're right, Harry. I never thought about that, but the return on investment is clearly higher. You can make more money from this, and it's easier to get away with,
Yeah,
quite frankly.
please continue.
Okay, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought of that. So, to your point, we just in November last year, we heard about Marriott hotels with 500 million records breached. And they're still getting to the root cause of this, but they think this primarily came through a spear phishing attack where they were able to gain passwords that were seemingly to unrelated sites, whether that was Apple or Twitter and so on, and use a combination of those passwords to access the internal databases of Marriott hotels.
Yeah. Yeah, unbelievable. Oh, my fitness pal. Oh no, I lost some weight this year using my fitness pal. Now everybody knows the truth.
Well, that might seem innocuous, but hopefully the passwords were encrypted, right? Because again, it may not be the data in MyFitnessPal, but if they can get your password, they're going to go, of course, then use that for your bank and other places as well.
Right. I'll change it right now.
So let's talk about how this works. I think everybody knows how phishing works. So let's talk about how do you protect against it. So there are a few big trends out right now that MSPs have heard about. One, you've certainly heard of these phishing education, where you can actually send fake phishing campaigns to your users and see who clicks on them, and then sort of message them after the people who click and say, hey, that wasn't a good idea. And you can sort of see how exposed you are. Number two is, of course, multi-factor authentication is huge. Password managers, where you're creating a different password on every site so that if you are compromised with one password, it's not going to work in other places. That's what you can encourage your customers to do and help them do. And then you can use security vendors for a couple things. One is incorporating threat feeds from everywhere. Two is blocking new domains. 98% of phishing attacks are domains that are less than 30 years old, or 30 days old.
I was gonna say, wow. Okay.
Yeah, 30 years old is nothing. 30 days old, and if you can block those, you've actually blocked the majority of phishing attacks.
Yep.
And then finally, the best thing you can do is leverage machine learning. And an example of that is, for example, if you click a link in an email, and if you're using something like DNS Filter, we can actually scan that in real time. And if we've never seen that domain before, we can actually block that in real time using AI to compare that to 40,000 different phishing websites. So a bit of a pitch there, but that's another example of using real-time artificial intelligence so that even if it gets through, even if someone clicks it, you're still protected.
Yeah, no, I like it. Interesting. Well, sir, appreciate the quick hitter on phishing. We're always trying to add value where we can, and also enjoyed stopping by your booth at the ChannelCon 2019 at the Bellagio in Vegas earlier this year. However, I'm assuming I will see you next early August in Miami at CompTIA ChannelCon 2020.
We will be there. It was a fantastic conference, and it's just such a great community of people. Everybody's just so helpful and so friendly. Such a fantastic community.
Yeah, and I'll end on this. I still am bedeviled. Why CompTIA? I mean, I do like the early August time frame. That is a gap in the traditional fall and spring schedule, so I like that week. But doggone it, why does CompTIA choose the hottest places? I mean, DC humidity. I've done Phoenix, I've done Austin, I've done Vegas, and now I'm going to Miami. Come on, man.
Right. Why can't we be in August in Vail, Colorado, or something like that, where it's nice and cool? It was very hot in Vegas.
Yeah. That's one way to keep them in lecture and not go outside. But hey, Rustin, thanks for your time. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Thanks, Harry. Talk soon. Bye.